So you want to move to Spring Hill, Florida, but you don't want to make a really big mistake. So you want to know these 8 things that'll help guide you make the right decision on whether moving to Spring Hill, Florida is the right decision for you. So my name is Andre. I'm from the Adams Group. I help people like you every single day make decisions about whether or not coming to Florida, specifically the Spring Hill area, is the right thing for you. So if you want to discuss that further, my contact information is in the description below. But otherwise, let's get to it. So first up on our list is actually going to be auto insurance. Now, Florida has one of the highest rates of uninsured drivers in the nation. It is definitely affecting our premiums. A couple of other things that could affect our premiums are the fact that we get a lot of rain, especially during the summer. And if you have been here during those Florida torrential downpours, it is very difficult to see the road. So when you factor in some of our weather elements with the fact that we have a lot of uninsured motorists, that means that our auto insurance premiums tends to be a little bit higher, actually a lot a bit higher if we're being honest, than every other place in the country. How much, you ask? About 37 to 40%. So if you're coming from another state, you really need to factor in that your auto insurance is actually going to be much higher than you're used to paying. So number 2 on our list is going to be homeowners insurance. Now, homeowners insurance is actually a statewide concern. It is not just limited to the Spring Hill area, but what we do have in the Spring Hill area is a notoriously bad reputation for having sinkholes. Now, are all sinkhole remediated homes bad? No, a lot of that is related to fraud that occurred in the 80s and 90s where people were claiming that they were sinkholes, but it was really settlement. So that was an epidemic fraud that was happening in this area. Now, the reality is most of Florida is based on a sinkhole. We're based on sand and limestone. So you're going to have sinkhole concerns no matter where you go. The other risk for homeowners insurance is actually hurricanes. So not that we get direct hits very often, but we are in a state that is prone to hurricanes. So we do have weather related risk. The other one that's going to happen is whether or not you're in a flood zone. So if you're looking at a property and you do not want to be in a flood zone, you're going to be looking at a flood zone X. That is what you're going to be looking for. Anything other than that is going to have a flood insurance premium. So how much more insurance are you going to have to pay in Florida? Well, that's the thing. Depending on where you are and the risk of the area where you are, you could be paying up to 2 to 3 times more in homeowners insurance that you would based on where you currently are. So you're going to have to factor those in. So number 3 on our list, we're going to be talking about HOAs and CDDs. Now, depending on where you're coming from, you may not be used to a lot of HOA neighborhoods. HOA stands for Homeowners Association. CDD stands for Community Development District. Now, these are 2 terms, depending on where you're coming from, you probably have not heard of in the past. So let me explain them a little bit more. The Homeowners Association is responsible for the amenities. They are the ones who are making sure that the community standards are maintained so that property values tend to be higher. And so when you go into an HOA community, you'll notice that a lot of the homes are going to be well kept. And if not, you're going to get fines, notices, and all sorts of letters, depending on the type of HOA, telling you to fix the issue. And that is for the benefit of all of the homeowners. So an HOA is a community standard that everybody is agreeing to when they move into the community. Now, what is a CDD? The CDD is really about the infrastructure. A lot of the development and infrastructure is maintained through the CDD. Now, not all HOA communities do have a CDD, but the ones that do have it in addition to that HOA. And the CDD is paid on your taxes while the HOA is typically paid monthly. Now, when you're coming to the Spring Hill area, we're going to have a mix of HOA and CDD, and non-HOA homes. So there's a wide variety for you to choose from. Now, what are the pros and cons of that? If you do not want to be in an HOA, you have the ability to do whatever you really want to your property within the guidelines of Hernando County's regulations. So you want to make sure that you're abiding by the municipal code that governs our area. Now, when you're in an HOA, you have to also abide by that, but also within the context of the HOA and community standards. So that means if you wanted to paint your house a certain color, the HOA would have to approve that. If you wanted to take down a tree or do some sort of landscaping or anything like that, there's likely going to be a review of that request and an approval granted. So these are things that you're going to want to take into consideration when coming down here, especially if you're coming from an area that does not have a lot of HOA communities. That is a big change. Now, some people like it and some people hate it. So number 4, let's talk about job market. So Spring Hill is a large, small town located in Hernando County. So we definitely do not have the same type of industry and corporate presence like you would in Tampa. So a lot of our job opportunities are going to be based in smaller businesses, healthcare, and education. So that is a majority of where our industry lies. You'll see a lot of retail as well when you go into some of the major areas in Spring Hill. So that is where most of our industry lies. So when we're looking at job opportunities, you're going to be looking at whether or not you're coming in with a hybrid remote job, a completely remote job, or you're going to be looking for industry within Spring Hill. So knowing the type of job opportunities that are offered in this area will help determine whether or not you need to be a commuter, which is going to be discussed in point number 5. So as I was saying, if you are not getting a job in Spring Hill, you are probably going to be a commuter. So point number 5 is commuting. So if you need to get a job, in order to be in this area, you're going to be looking at what's available to you local. And if there's nothing local for you, you're going to be going most likely to Tampa. And Tampa is about 45 minutes south of Spring Hill. Now, one thing to notice is the proximity of Spring Hill and where you are in relation to the major roadways that would get you to Tampa. There are 2 main roadways that people take south to Tampa. One is US 19, which runs along the coastline, and the other is the Suncoast Parkway, which is more inland to the farthest end of Spring Hill. Now, if you are somewhere in the middle of Spring Hill, you are going to add more commute time because you're likely going to have to drive to one of these main roads in order to continue your commute down. So proximity to Tampa is going to be massive when it comes to knowing how long is it going to take to get you to your employment. Now, in the mornings, you're going to see typical rush hour. Now, the rush hour, depending on the time of day you're driving, could add anywhere from 15 to 45 minutes to your commute. So you need to know and be prepared for the idea that you're going to have a longer commute time. But in exchange for that, there's going to be other opportunities for you up here, such as more affordable housing, which we'll discuss later in the video, and other areas of life that you might find more beneficial to you. So keep that in mind when you're looking at this area, that if you need to get a job and you are in the corporate world or you are in something that we don't provide as a small community, that you're likely going to be traveling south to the Tampa area. Point number 6, beach access. Now, if you're coming to Florida, you have undoubtedly heard of some of our pristine beaches and the places that people want to go to when they come down to live what they appear or say to be that Florida lifestyle. So that is beaches. But if you live in the Spring Hill area, what kind of beach access do you have? Again, it goes down to what are you looking for. So a good majority of the locals utilize something called Pine Island, which is a very, very small area near Spring Hill that has a beach area and access to water. Now, if you wanted to go to some of our more pristine beaches known famously for what they look like and the tourist kind of idea, you're going to be heading south to Clearwater, St. Petersburg, and all of that beach along that shoreline. Now, a good amount of locals don't utilize Clearwater. They go to the beaches below that. So they'll go to Indian Shores, Indian Rocks, Madeira, Treasure Island. There's a lot of other beaches that have the same sand, same water, but they don't have the same tourist attraction to it, which makes it more desirable. But how do you get there? You're going to take either US 19 or the Suncoast Parkway, and it's going to take you about an hour 15 to an hour and 30 to get to the beach that you're desiring. So while some locals utilize Pine Island, others who want the more pristine beaches are going to head further south, which is about an hour 15, hour 30 away from anywhere you are in Spring Hill. Now, what other access besides beach do people enjoy up here? So we're known a lot for our canal access. So we have Weeki Wachee Springs. We have a lot of kayaking. We have Hernando Beach, which is access to the water. We also can go up further north to Crystal River. There is a lot of opportunity to live a water life, but it also depends whether you want a beach life canal life? What kind of water life are you interested in? So, number 7, let's talk a little bit about healthcare. We have to maintain our health. And in order to do that, we have to evaluate whether or not Spring Hill has the same level of services that you would need in case you ever needed to utilize them. And that's going to be always in comparison to the largest city closest to us, which is going to be Tampa. Now, in the Spring Hill area, there are two main hospitals that take care of most of all of the needs here. So there's Oak Hill Hospital, which is located off of State Road 50 in Ana Cortez. And there's also going to be Tampa General Hospital of Spring Hill, which they recently acquired that. It used to have Bravera and it used to have all these other people who've owned it. So those are the two main hospitals in the Spring Hill area. Now, there is a lot of specialized services in the area, but there are not as many specialized areas as you would find in Tampa. So some of the things that people do discuss when it comes to this area is the time it takes to get an appointment relative to going further south. Now, there is an enormous amount of hospitals and providers that are located in Tampa. And while some residents utilize service providers that are in the area, you're going to find a good majority of people are going to travel further south and go to the Tampa area to get more hospital specialized care for specialized needs that they may have. I discussed this in a previous video, our experience when it came to pediatrics. Now, when we had an issue with our children and needed pediatric specialized care, we did need to go down to Tampa in order to receive that. Now, was that the worst thing in the world? No, but it is something that you do need to know about when it comes to making a decision to live in this area. If you have specialized needs, you're going to want to see what kind of specialized care is located in the area, or will you need to travel to Tampa in order to receive it. And last but not least, number 8 on our list is going to be the housing market and the cost of a home. One of the big draws to Spring Hill is the affordability in relation to being in the Tampa area. So you have all of the benefits of being able to travel to Tampa in a reasonable amount of time, and also a house that is about 25 to 30% cheaper depending on where you are for the same exact equivalent house. So now I did another video that you can look on my channel that discusses how you can get a home in Spring Hill, the exact same home for $100,000 less than you would get in Tampa. But that's not all. You're going to have other different opportunities up here for housing that you would not have in the Tampa area. Some of that relates to the size of the lot. Many homes in Spring Hill are located on quarter-acre lots. That is a pretty standard size when you look at homemaker lots in this area. You're also going to see that the average home, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home, goes for anywhere from $300,000 to $350,000, depending on its age, condition, and other amenities offered to it. Now, if you wanted to add a pool or have some other amenity like that, it is going to be a little bit higher. But in Tampa, that same home is going to be anywhere from $400,000 to $450,000. So if affordability to purchase similar home but at a better price makes sense, then you're going to want to look at the Spring Hill area to find comparable homes for cheaper. Now, the Spring Hill market is very diverse when it comes to all the different types of homes available. And some of the homes move very quickly. So if a home is priced correctly, it has been updated and well kept, and shows really well, those homes are moving exceptionally fast. Now, Spring Hill in general had a reputation in the past for being more of a retirement area. Now, I think that stigma has started to change. We do have a very large retirement population and retirement communities in the area that service those individuals, but also younger families are starting to come to the area because of that price difference we discussed. And I've seen that happen in other parts of the country, where if one area starts to get expensive, people do start moving further north. So when you're exploring the areas that you want to live, keep that into consideration, that what kind of price point do you want to be for your home? So when you're looking at that, I think you'll find that Spring Hill is a great value for you and your family. So if you found value in this content and you wanted to help me get more of my information out to the people who need it, if you could be so kind as to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, it really helps the algorithm show that I am doing something that people may be interested in watching. And if you have questions about any of the things that I said or want more information, you could drop a comment below, or you can go into the description and grab my contact information and shoot me a text. I would love to have a conversation and get to know you guys a little bit better. So until the next video, I hope that you guys are having a wonderful day, and I will see you then.